Hello, welcome to Black and Forth. I'm your host, Nori. I'm excited to be here. We have a very special guest, Mr. Benny Pough, today. He is joining us, and I'm going to give you his whole background and resume here shortly. But this is being brought to you by The Wave USA and Digital-PR. Man, we have been like really cranking out these episodes and really speaking to and for the culture. And so I'm so excited to have Benny. He is an business expert, author, CEO of Dverse Media. I mean, the list goes on of his background. I think I love when I read from intern to business executive. I was like, that's a story within itself. So really getting out here and working with the labels that we fell in love with over the years has delivered some of our favorite artists. I mean, so, you know, from real estate to just being a business guru to app development, writing a book, he is busy, like busy in the best kind of way. And so I'm just excited to have you here. From working with Rock Nation to being the vice president there to RCA, MCA, I mean, Arista, I mean, Motown. What have you not done?
Man, I listened to that intro. Boy, I was sitting here like, who's she talking about?
It's you. That's all you.
Listen, I'm very thankful just having the opportunity to have a lot of great people I worked at, being in the right place at the right time and working real hard. So, it's the fruits of your labor, right? What you put in is what you get out.
Absolutely. And you have put in the work. I mean, to read. So I was very blessed to be at the inaugural Urban One Honor. So I was there when you actually got your award and you were, presented. And I just think it's just so exciting to see you, get recognized and receive these awards and have the opportunity to actually get your flowers. A lot of times people don't get their flowers until, they're long gone. And so, starting out in this music industry, did you always know you wanted to be in the music industry? I know you have a communications background when you went to college, but was it music specifically that you were going for?
So first and foremost, I love the piece about you speaking about getting your flowers. And I think it's really important for us, right, to say thank you to people, right? Sometimes we take it for granted. And, Ms. Hughes, who's been a great mentor and friend and coach, right, for recognizing me for that was incredible. And just because I was able to be there amongst the company of people who were hosted and celebrated, I was like, wow. But in regards to so thank you, Miss H, right? But in regards to like the music business, I fell into the music business. My background was sales. So prior to getting into music, I did everything from selling cutlery door to door, selling fax machines, which I know your generation don't know nothing about that, right?
Nah, don't do me. I use reel to reel from radio. That's how long okay. I've been doing this.
Okay. Citibank's financial products. And also at night I was doing comedy. So the regional director of promotions for Motown Records at the time, she and a local promoter booked me for a show up in Harlem. And at the end of the show said to me, Benny, what are you doing? And I graduated that summer. I hadn't even planned written my resume out at that point. She's like, why don't you come down and be my intern? So I was like, I didn't even know what an intern was, but I wasn't going to tell her. Right. But, you go with the flow. I mean, nobody ever taught us that. Like that wasn't a part of the growth cycle, from where we come from. You work summer jobs, right? You hope to do something for the summer, but internship is a whole nother, level of getting yourself ready for the future. So when she said, I was like, yeah, I went down and realized at that point, doing college promotions, that it was something that I loved. I loved being a part of a process that you could make a star from, zero to somebody in a 12-week period. And I fell in love with the music business at that point.
I think what's exciting is that like back when you started and when I started in radio, like there were street teams, like the street teams would come to the radio station with the promotions and it used to just be this whole thing. And I think now we've transitioned, like the street team is the internet now. You know what I'm saying? It's not
That's right.
necessarily, having the crew come in and put the flyers and the posters up and things like that. And so we've just seen like this evolution that's taken place, and you have literally like hit every phase, like nail on the head. And I just think that is just so exciting that you literally can look through the span of your career and see the pivotal transitions that's taken place within this industry. I mean, you've signed and worked with artists like Future, Steve Harvey, legends like Beyoncé and Jay-Z and 21 Savage. Like, if you're able to share, like, how did you recognize, like, what is that it factor for you?
For artists, I mean, there are a couple artists I've been a part of their career directly. And then there are other artists that I've been a part of, a team's effort in marketing and promoting, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the artists I signed, Yo Gotti I signed, Cash Out, riding around with that Nina, right?
Yes.
FLY, Swag Surf, right?
Mm-hmm.
Feel Mob from the Dirty
Oh
Dirty,
my God, I love Bill Mom.
Atlanta. Yeah, that was the first artist. Those were the first guys. And I always talk about them because I was excited because that's when I knew I loved music. And to be a New Yorker, right?
Yes.
Signing something from Atlanta as Atlanta was really becoming that whole mecca of Black music, right? I was
Mm-hmm.
super excited about that. That's why I talk about him. And Jeremiah brought him with Birthday Sex, right? His manager used to work for me as a field promoter. So, talent is, we can all recognize talent, right? Is what can you do with it? And,
Yeah.
having an ear for it, right? Knowing for me what sounds good on the radio is
Mm-hmm.
what, I looked for, because that's where I created my bones, was getting records played on the radio. So, something that was commercial, but
Mm-hmm.
also at artistry, right? So it's not just about what you can make from it, but will it be something that's going to have staying power?
Well, you definitely know some good staying power. I mean, I remember Yo Gotti came out with Full Time, and we had a summer jam in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and we was like, he gotta come to our summer jam. Like, I remember Phil Mob coming to Chattanooga and being
Wow.
so excited because it was just so Southern. It was just,
Yo, weren't they? Yes.
it was like us. And so, I have a connection through you with these different artists that you've brought to the forefront. And I think, 6 degrees of separation, I just think it's like just so dope. And thinking about like your role when you are with the label, like what is the role of a record label to support artists? Because right now we are in a space where artists are really like, do I need to get signed? Do I stay independent? Well, like what has been the role of the record label to really support artists, especially like as we've transitioned with these millennials?
So for artists, what they should know exactly what they want from a label, right?
Mm.
Before signing to a label, right? Because if you think about what the power of the internet has done, has given artists a lot of power to decide, right?
Yeah.
When it's a good time for you to pursue a label, and you can still make money even if you're not signed. So you're in a great seat and position to know that, guess what, you're really talented, or you can create a fan base, or you can tour, or you can sell your merchandise, right? So
Mm-hmm.
once you've actually created that, then you're in a position where you have leverage to go to a label. And you should look for labels to be, that fuel on the fire. If you think
Mm.
about the spark that you have, right, as a
Mm-hmm.
talent, you can only do so much. You're
Yeah.
looking for a label to light that fire and move you, the next 10 steps forward, right? So that's what you should be looking for from a label.
So what do you think like some of the misconceptions are when people are going to a label? Because I often, the first thing I hear is like a signing bonus and getting upfront money, especially with artists who have been, working and cultivating their craft and building that fan base as you talked about, but really just not in a position to support themselves. So a lot of people go to art labels because they're like, I maybe can get this cash advance, I can get this video, I can get this look that really goes along with the actual songs and feel and vibe that they've created on their own to really just enhance that. So do you think it's a misconception that record labels are just all about handing out money?
Well, that's an individual choice. I think perception whether if you're approaching going to a label as a payday, then you know you're gonna have to give, right? It's a business relationship. Let's just realize, it's not charity, right?
Right.
It's not an orphanage, right? It's none of that, right? Like, people want something from you of value. So you shouldn't go in any business venture as a novice just thinking like people like you and they're gonna do the best by you. So the first thing to do is have proper representation, right? And if you're coming with value, then you're gonna have to negotiate what's best for you. So if you go in and say, I'm gonna give you everything I got and all I want is a car, why wouldn't they take it, right?
Yeah.
But if you came in from a position of power, or you came in with a team, now you're in the negotiation of what's best for you, and you may realize, I'm not ready for a deal yet. So you can't look at the label, right, is the bad guy because you're willing to compromise, right? Especially in today's time where you don't have to go inside. You don't, right? And there are a lot of great independents that are out here now that you can always look to. You can always structure very creative deals with distribution companies, right, to get your foot going, right, and build your content. But if you go in and you give it all away in any aspect, whose fault is that?
Yeah, it's the artist. It's the artist. When you talk,
artist is also the business person. We have to start, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but we have to start looking at ourselves as valuable, right? And period. Like, we don't have to give anything away for free, right? Why? We just don't. So stop doing it and stop thinking like that, right? Stop just thinking like, you for sale, right? You don't have to. Play hard to get, right? Treat it like a relationship. You don't give it all up front, right? Right?
That's correct.
Wait, right? Both sides. People don't. Like, you get to know, court the late, let them court you, right? Get it when it's right.
I think oftentimes we need these moments, these nuggets from executives like you to remind us, like, oh, okay, I am the prize. Like they want what I have, and I also that give and take that you talk about. You want what they have. You mentioned something that is so valuable, and I have seen this turnover happen where we're actually seeing it now with Megan Thee Stallion, a team, and having people, lawyers, managers, whatever that team consists of, and maybe you can tell me if I'm missing something, having a team that you can go in that's solid. One of the artists that I've had the privilege of kind of getting to know a little bit, and one of the things he talks about was working with his original team that he came into the business with. And then, and that's Drake. He's been consistent with his team throughout his entire career. But then there are artists that have initial deals, and then they get this notoriety and they make money and they are who they are, and it's not quite the same with their original team. So how would you suggest artists kind of navigate when they have offers that they never imagined would be on the table to switch up their team?
So everyone isn't going to be a megastar, right?
Okay.
So, and just think of in life, you may have, meaning people, and yourself included, myself included, you may have 2, 3, maybe people that you still are close with from high school.
Yes.
Maybe 1, maybe 3, definitely not 10, right? Right? Why? Because you evolve, right? Things you like, they don't like. Places you like to go, they don't like to go. You went to go, you moved away from home, they stayed, right? So our growth and development have gone on different courses. So that also happens in business, right? Like the first accountant I started with, I don't have him no more, right? The first lawyer that did my first deal, I don't deal with him no more, right? And it's not that there's anything to point at that was wrong. I've grown. And guess what? They've grown. And maybe their needs don't satisfy what my wants are, or vice versa, right? So if there's no reason to stay together out of obligation and we not doing good business, right? And I think if the dialogue and the conversations are being consistent in the process, right? Then you can make changes and make sure that we stand in the same course, because, you know, people will earn the right to exit. I talk about that in my book, right, on impact. A lot of these things are in my book, which is coming out in the summer. But
Okay.
you know, that's what's important, is not staying past your expiration date. And you know, I think the evolution for people is to realize, like, you know what, we have to improve ourselves and we have to improve together. And if we can't, right, make sure you right by people along the way, because you never know when you have to come back, right? But just be honest. Be honest in the conversation. If you're honest, then it's cool. Because then it's no surprise on the breakup, because you've been having these conversations, right? It's only when you've been keeping it to yourself, mad at folks, not saying nothing, and then like, yo, you out. Like, I'm out.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We didn't even talk about nothing. Like, how am I out? And now they telling your secrets and all of this is just messy, right? So good business is always first and foremost.
You said a word. You cannot stay past your expiration date. That just struck my soul. I was like, gosh, that's in life, that's relationships, that's work, that's everything. Even milk expires. Like, there are so many things that just expire in our life that we try to hold on to. It's crazy because I feel like I'm there. Like, that's actually where I am in my life right now. It's like things have expired and I'm like, I don't know. I still can get a bowl of cereal out of that milk.
Because you're comfortable. You're just comfortable, and that's gonna make people complacent, because it's hard for all of us, right? Human nature. We like what we like and how we like it, right? But that's gonna keep you exactly where you are. Still, right? Stuck.
I need this book. That's what I need. I need this book. I'm excited for this book to take place. You've had some pretty interesting transitions in your life, and one of the things that stuck out was a car accident in 2014. What was it a different lens after that car accident? What was it that was like the turning point, the turn key for you to be like, all right, I need to make some transitions, that this car accident was such a monumental moment for you?
So hitting a tree at 90 miles an hour will change your life, right?
How to do it.
It was eye-opening from a lot of perspectives, because I actually saw the accident happening, right? So you really do die, or in the process of ending your life in slow motion, right? So I saw that, and at that time I realized, right, that I hadn't prepared my family for me not being here, right? And that was my will to live after the accident. I mean, I had major injuries, massive concussion, you know, L4, L5 vertebrae fracture, bulging disc in my back. We hit the tree so hard that the seatbelt severed 2 feet of my small intestine and lacerated my liver, that I had, you know, massive internal bleeding inside that lost half the blood capacity internally. And what I learned from all of that, and what came from that, God's blessing, was he put a book inside of me, right, that takes, and I titled the book For the Moment, on impact, right? And impact is an acronym for intuition, mastery, pivot, authenticity, communication, and teamwork. So it takes you, it's an inspiration, motivational business book that takes you through my journey from 11 years old, delivering the papers to this moment, right? Talking to Nori and everything in the middle. And, you know, it gives you a snapshot of my life on, if Benny can do it, I can do it too, right? Because the road hasn't been easy, but there's also been some great moments, right? And has an undercurrent of music, obviously, as well. So super excited about it, right? And look forward to, you know, the book coming out this summer.
You have been able to really step into so many different executive business spaces, right? Because, you know, I think sometimes it used to be this idea and thought process of like marrying a job. Like, you would get with these jobs and you would stay there for, you know, X amount of years and retire. You've created Dverse Media, your own media company. You're signing artists yourself. You're an author. You're into real estate. There are so many artists that look at you and are like, okay, I need to diversify. I need to figure out, like, music is one piece, but like, what are the other pieces for artists that are emerging and trying to break into the music business? What advice would you give to them trying to just break into the music business, first of all? But the second part of this question is mindset. I feel, you know, we were talking about your book and this transition that took place, but you have a whole other level of mindset. Like, it's not even just about the record for that moment. It's like you have this vision of what this artist really can be if they take the guidance and really apply it. So just talk to us about, you know, when the artist is wanting to get signed and then taking them to higher heights. Because all of the artists that you've worked with, for the most part, they are not only good in music, but when we start to see, because of social media now, we see so many layers of them, they have really just kind of branched out and done some amazing things in life.
So I think the first answer to your first question is you have to know the exit, right? Like, you need to have that goal of what it is that I want from business, right? And then we can get into the music aspect of it, is because then that sets that goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know the roads that you need to travel, right? Be it be difficult or easy for the end goal. And what is the end goal? I want a house for my mother, right? What is the end goal? I want to own real estate, right? What is the end goal, right? I want to amass a lot of cash, right? But you have to know where it is that you're going. So now you have that goal in mind. And I think what happens with people in the music business, they get caught up in the lottery aspect of it, right? So now you get a deal, whether it's whatever that value of money, more than you've ever had in your life, and you don't have a plan. So what happens without a plan? You just become frivolous, right? Everything seems to be important, right? There's no discipline involved, right? And if you think about the successful artists that we're talking about, there's some artists that you hear about, never hear about having money issues, right? Or artists that live long and consistent careers, right? And do have a level of consistency of business, travel, etc., because they put together good teams, right? And have goals in mind. Like, I've been fortunate to work with a lot of artists that have amassed a lot of wealth, right? And doing so, they've kept rooted with, you know, their disciplines of what they wanted from the business, right? And what you have to do, you can't just do a bunch of things at once. You have to master and build, master and build, master and build, right? Don't start 7 businesses, right? And you're not good at one. That's stupid, right? Right? Be efficient and proficient at something and then add on. For me, I talk about this in my book. I had 2 plan A's, right? Music and real estate. So I was running those parallel, right? From my first real position in the business, I started acquiring real estate, and every bonus thereafter, I purchased something new, right? So I didn't just take the money. And I guess where everybody going down in Mexico now, or
everybody
want to be in Jamaica, or everybody want to be in Turks, right? Everybody want to blow $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. Yo, $5,000, you can get you a great flip, right? Come in with 2 or 3 other people, right? $20,000, you can buy you something and have, you know, exponential returns, right? So it depends on what you want to do with your money. It's not that you shouldn't vacate. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't fly to yourself, but why you walking around here with 15, you aspire for $1,500 bags and $1,200 shoes and, you know, $30,000 chains and all of those things, then guess what? You better have the equivalent in equities and properties, right?
Okay.
Because if you know, enjoy yourself, but enjoyment can't be all you're about, right? Because at some point, you know, things change. Life changed. You know, I didn't know I was going to be in an accident one day. Had I not set myself up, then that could have been problematic, right? Because people only going to sympathize for you for a moment. Oh, sorry to hear that. You got to let him go, right? Or her go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you're not ready. But you got them chains, some shoes, and you got all that other stuff that nobody even want to pay for no more, right?
And that is like so crazy, but it is something that we have like seen kind of take place over and over again in the industry, unfortunately. So for anyone that watches this interview and desires to break into the music industry, you know, or even if they want to harness talent, not harness, but they want to work with and develop talent. There are not as many people that develop talent like they used to back in the day. Like you actually used to go to a Marvin McIntyre and like he would, you know, develop the talent like the TLCs and the New Editions and things of that nature. Like we don't have that like we used to. There are some artists that get that, but we don't have that like we used to. So, you know, in this space of, you know, numbers and analytics and, you know, trying to get the attention of Benny Pough, like trying to, you know, get the attention of these real heavy hitters and movers and shakers in the industry. What are some key or essential things that an artist needs to do to strike the attention of you?
Know your talent, right? Know exactly who and what you are. Like music, if you're in the music business, music matters, right? Songs matter, right? No matter what the time is, whether it was analog or now digital, you're not gonna beat a great song, right?
Okay, that's right.
That you know, like you're just not gonna, you'll be found if the music is good. And now with so many vehicles of exposing the music, you know, people like myself, we're always looking and mining and searching for something that's authentic, right? Something that's different and something that's great. So I think it's incumbent now on talent to make sure that you master being talented. And I think everyone is just looking for a hot moment as opposed to the long haul, right? And that's what's really important is that, you know, if this is a career, some people's careers may happen in 3 months and take a ride forever, and some people might happen in 6 years, right? So who knows when your time is, but you should be prepared at all times, right? With your talent, right? And resource. Like this is a great opportunity, right? This is a great opportunity for people. Bombard, you know, the labels or independent labels in your local marketplace, right? Get discovered. Like you can't just sit back and hope and pray, right? And when someone does call, or someone does identify you, be ready, right? Be ready. And that would be my best advice to anyone is to be ready and make sure that you get yourself out there.
You know, what effects do you think like social media has had like on streaming service and how that impacts the labels? Like, you know, making sure that your music is streaming on all platforms and not just on YouTube anymore, not just on SoundCloud. Like, how do you think streaming services like really changed how we consume music with these different labels?
It's phenomenal. I mean, it's, if you just think about it, now you can just get the analytics of what someone's real performance is, right? Meaning the value of the people who really enjoy your song, your music, you as an artist, right? We don't have to guess anymore whether, you know, you say you hot in Atlanta, right? But oh, what's really happening, right? And you can see week over week, month over month on how people are starting to adapt to your style, your music, your art. So the platforms have taken out, you know, the guesswork for all of us.
That makes perfect sense. So you've achieved so much, right, over the course of your career.
I'm still working.
Yes, you are. You working right now. you're, you know, but I mean, you really are one of the greats. Like you are absolutely. I mean, I've seen quite a few of your interviews and you've just always been so down to earth, so very, you know, like I'm here to help and, you know, but this is business. Like, oh, let's not forget what this is. And I think that is just really great in this industry that you are, you know, just so willing to help the next generation and to, you know, share your information and knowledge. I mean, that's really what it's about. Like being able to mine information and harvest knowledge. That's why we have this platform, because there are so many people that are going to watch this interview and they're going to be like, yo, like, that's what I wanted to ask Benny. And I'm happy he said that. And I can go to this chapter in his book because he's going to break it down. And so I think, you know, just having access to you right now for me, and being in radio for 20 years, like, this means a lot to me. So I just want to say thank you for taking the time out to be here. But you have Dverse Media, like, you have your book coming out, you still working. So what does next look like for you?
So I have, I'm a part of a company called Candid. It's a social media app that we do micro payments. So now you have an opportunity with your content, right? It's an African-American owned company, right? The creator, a young brother from Columbia, South Carolina, which is phenomenal, right? Came up with a concept on his own that I think will be revolutionary, you know, as we move forward. And here's an opportunity for me to pivot, right? With Black tech, right? So if you just think about it, just putting the foot in the door, right, to bust it open for everyone else. Here's a piece of product that I think is going to be incredible, Candid, right? So now, what does our platform do? So our platform, if you think about Instagram, right? You go for likes and follows, and you know, everybody can't do an OnlyFans, although they're trying, because, you know, if you're in the church, you don't want to send everybody to your OnlyFans, or if you got to know, you know, you're doing baby clothes, you don't want to do all of that, right? So what we do is put the power in the user's hand, and you can now monetize your content. So on our site, you know, you can do up to 40 pieces of content in 10 1-minute videos, and you can either make it free or you can charge $99, right? So that's up to the content provider to set what they feel the value of their content is. So I'm super excited about that, launching in this year. So
okay,
that's next.
Well, 2021 is looking bright. We day 6 into it.
Come on, man.
I'm definitely excited about your app, and really, again, just how you are moving into so many different spaces. Now we're into the Black tech space. Now, you know, you are monetizing that, but also helping other people monetize their content and get a payday, which I think is wonderful. So what have been some of your favorite moments? And I'm sure you may have a long list. Some of your favorite moments in your career so far. Maybe give me top 3.
Wow, the first record I ever put on the radio, which was Monica, Just One of Them Days. That was like, yo, man, that was your 16th birthday. You know, that was your wedding day, whatever the big, like, to be a promoter and have like, yo, I got this record played, and then she became a star. So I always say it was because of me, right? Why wouldn't I, right? But first record, first city ever to have our music played. That was super excited about that. I think beyond that is just watching, you know, all of the people who've worked with me, now property owners. You know, they are now extended in the music business. You know, they're running their own staffs, running their own businesses, and they're giving back, right? And supporting with the same disciplines that I gave them, right? Make sure that people are owners, right? Like, you couldn't work for me and you didn't, you know, buy where you live. Like, God be on you like you crazy. Like, that's
really,
of course. That's the first thing you do is, like, you want to buy you a condo, right? Like, you're not going to make this money and pay somebody else. You're not doing that, right? Or what's the purpose if we're not giving the information and giving, you know, knowledge? And after that, it'd probably be like, you know, some #1 record stuff, you know.
Just some #1, just some #1 records, you know,
or something like that. But those are key. Those are key moments.
That is so cool. Okay. So can you speak to the importance of sharing your story and your experiences with the millennials? You are, you know, doing these interviews and you're giving out these gems and these nuggets, and you have your book coming out. And I mean, just to be in your presence, I'm sure, like, if I had a couple of hours with you, I'm gonna take some notes. Like you're gonna see me pull up my phone, and I'm like, okay, I need to remember this. So, what advice would you give millennials about being storytellers? Whether that's storytelling through their music, storytelling through their content, storytelling, being an author. What advice would you give?
I think what's really important is we talked about it in the interview is having a vision, right? Like in your life, right? In music, in business, right? And finding your purpose. That's going to be, the navigator for you through business, and especially in the music business, because you can be swayed, in a lot of different directions if you're not rooted, right? And
Absolutely.
don't let anything change you, right? You bring things to you. You don't have to go to it, right? Don't compromise your integrity for anybody or anything, right? So these are, like basic tenets of who and what we are. You don't give up because you're in, perceived business that you feel is, it's acceptable to be something that you're not, right? I think for the millennials, it's been important. And I'm learning, what I'm so excited about is being able to learn from this generation. And why I believe that I'm still here is because I stay connected to the youth, right? Like I don't want to be I'm a vampire. What you did put is I'm a black vampire too, right? Like,
okay, my bad. I'll put them in your title next
Put
time.
that on, right? I'm a black vampire, right? But but it's important. What I learned coming up was there were very few people that would take the opportunity to teach us. Like we had to find everything out on our own and make the same mistakes that somebody else. Like that's just horrible. Like, when you think about it. So now for me, right, and what I'm doing now, I was doing very locally, right, being in the companies that I'm with. Well, I'm not with a company now. So now it's about like letting people know, hey, listen, we're here to help, right? Now it's up to you to get the help. So for me is finding somebody. My recommendation would be find someone that's going to mentor you. Find someone that's important to you. Find someone that you value, right? That can help you. Short story. I have a mentee. Her name is Radiance Mack, and I was speaking at SMU University, and she stalked me after, right? And I didn't respond at first. She emailed me, she texted me, she went to LinkedIn, right?
Oh yeah, your LinkedIn is crazy. I was like, ooh.
She subscribed to LinkedIn to send me an email that I finally got to. She didn't know whether I was going to come back, right? So she was out of funds, sold clothes to do another month of LinkedIn in anticipation that I might respond, right? So when you say, and she's a law student at this point. So when you say, what should millennials do? Don't forget the hard work, because I'm actually starting a program because of her effort sparked something inside of me on how to go help others. But think about what she did is the answer to your question. She didn't give up, and she had a goal. And her goal, she actually got, because you know what? She was relentless for 30 days of everywhere I went. She had me, whether it was Instagram, link, you understand?
Yes.
So a lot of what's happening now, everybody wants something, but they forget that the work has to go in. You're getting nothing for free.
Wow. Wow. That inspired me. I'm out here like, you know what? I have some people I need to stalk.
Yo, it's crazy. I had a guy, it's a friend of mine, right? He told me it's the craziest thing. It's like people who have vision, there are no boundaries. When the pandemic started, he just emailed Jeff Bezos. Yo, he hit him back. And sent him, yes, yo, hit him back, and said, obviously sent him to his, but he hit him back. So just think about it. Most people would go, I'm not going to do that, right? But then there are people who have vision and see beyond stopping what they want and going after what they want.
I love it. I am so inspired right now. Okay. I see what you're doing. And I am just like, because you know, your mind start moving and turning, and it's
That's
just
right.
the initial grind that you go after something, and then you start to, you know, kind of get a level of success, and you're like, all right, good. And it's what you said earlier, you get comfortable.
You get comfortable. We all do that. Yeah, but you got to shake that. That's like a cold. Get rid of that.
Yeah. Man, Benny, I really could keep going. I don't want to take up much more of your time. I appreciate you. I appreciate you dropping these gems. I appreciate just you being a student of life and just sharing and growing, and you really being out here just evolving. Like, you didn't stay in one lane. You was like, let me master this lane. And then you were able to transition, and the mastery that in the footprints that you left behind us to follow in, man, we just appreciate you. So thank you for being a leader. Thank you for being a mentor. Just thank you for being willing to share your story. It's beautiful and it is inspiring, and I can't wait to see what's next. I really hope that we get to stay connected.
Why wouldn't we, Nori? And you know what? BennyPough.com.
I'm gonna go to the
But you got my number, so you can call me. Everybody else can go to BennyPough.com.
I'm gonna hit you. I really appreciate you, man. You have really turned on some light bulbs for me. And so, you know, to learn from you in this moment, it's not just an interview. Like, I have really had the opportunity to learn from you. And so thank you so much. So Benny Pough, ladies and gentlemen, what a fantastic show. Black and Forth. I am your host, Nori. We have been, you know, doing this for the culture. That's really what it's about, how we can all come together and help each other. It is a new year, and this is the episode that could absolutely change your life. And so thank you so much. A big thank you to the Wave USA, Digital-PR. We're just happy to be here, but this was the Benny Pough episode of Black and Forth.